Morning, everybody. We're trying something a little bit different here. We are using ND filters. I have an ND8 at ISO 400 and 240 shutter speed. Doing this on the motorcycle it just felt so much harder. This just feels so much easier to manage in any situation versus my motorcycle. It's so cool. I love it. Oh my gosh. I'm just in sport mode. Let's go down to eco. Like, eco mode feels pretty good off, doing this off-road stuff too. Look, I can lose traction in eco. I keep trying to use the foot brake, which is so ridiculous. I would never do this on my motorcycle. This is something I would never do. I would not feel comfortable doing this. This either. None of that would be comfortable. Wow, this is cool. Oh yeah, this is a really steep drop. I've never ridden down it. And I don't know if I can actually come back up it either. All right, let's go. Whew. Yikes. That was a little scary. I need to tighten up my steer tube or head tube or whatever it's called. Oh man, I really like that regen. It's really cool. I'll have to start using it just a little bit more. It's kind of hard to use it when I'm doing other stuff. Oh man, I've been in eco mode this whole time. And it's not a problem. I haven't even felt the need for more power just yet. And maybe that kind of just goes into, how I am as a rider. I don't ride super fast, I don't ride super hard. And this is kind of proving that, which is funny. I probably would have been pretty happy with the MX4. No, but I really like these good brakes, so I don't know, to some extent. Oops. I'm really glad I got the MX5.
But at the same time, I was a little disappointed because right after this came out, the Altus Sigma was announced. And the Altus Sigma is going to be a pretty big turning point, I think, in the electric bike market because it has a 20 kilowatt motor. It's 98 volts at 35 amp hours. And that means it's a pretty big battery. It's a 3,400 watt hour battery versus a 2,800 watt hour battery for the MX5. It just seems like a lot of bike for what you get. It's got a direct mount stem, essentially everything you would actually need. So I would actually prefer the Altus Sigma mostly. It does weigh 185 pounds, so it's almost as big as the Ultra B. Whereas this bike, they claim 185 pounds, and the MX5 Pro claims 159 pounds. So it's almost 30 pounds heavier. It's getting into like motorcycle territory, and it looks more like a motorcycle. So I am glad that I got the MX5 Pro, but at the same time, just paying $1,000 more for the Altus Sigma would be a pretty interesting option as well. And the reason I say that is that the Altus is going for essentially $5,500, but it does have a $200 delivery fee, and then you have to pay for tax as well. So when you're out the door with it, it's going to be around $6,200. And that's going to be significantly more than the MX5 Pro. While it is only $1,200, and I do believe it's worth it, it is getting into another class of e-bike. So am I going to sell my MX5 Pro immediately? No, I'm definitely going to ride it around and enjoy it. And as I've been riding it, I've noticed that even with the amount of power that I have, I'm getting myself into trouble with the power. So I think it's pretty good to start on something a little less powerful like the MX5 Pro before jumping up to the Altus Sigma. For me personally, some other people that maybe are more comfortable with electric dirt bikes or just dirt bikes in general will be able to get more out of it. But I'm riding around in eco mode this entire time, and I've been just enjoying it. So there's that.
This is so easy. This is so ridiculously easy. I came up here on my dirt bike, and this was a tough climb. It really was. I was having a hard time getting up here. I think I even stopped once. Like, this just makes the climbs so stupidly easy. I don't know if it's the lack of the clutch. It's just it feels so small and so lightweight and nimble. It just doesn't even feel like I'm working very hard to get it up, you know? Feels like I'm just playfully climbing up the hill. It's so cool. So this suspension right here, man, I keep saying private property. Is this really private property? I don't know if it is. I guess it is. There's no, actually I don't think it is. I really don't. I think someone is just throwing signs up there. Because this is an access road. It can't be private property if it's also an access road. I just don't get it. Someone just barely put those up. And it's weird because I've done this a bunch. So it's just strange that all of a sudden this is private property. I don't know, it doesn't make sense. I've been doing this for a while, and I've never seen those signs. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, suspension. So the rear suspension I haven't touched from the factory. I don't think there's a lot of adjustability there anyway. It's just a progressive spring, which is cool. And the front felt super squishy when I first got it. It was very soft. And turns out there's a 16, so these little, not sure if you can see them, these little black things right here, they can twist up to 16 times, or 16 clicks, or 8 full rotations, and they were all the way on the lightest setting. So I rotated them to the hardest setting. That was way too hard. So I went halfway in between. So I just went half and half. And then I kind of dialed in the preload to, I think I put everything at about half. I think I'm still above 90%, so I can't use my regen. Sad. Yeah, and then putting everything at half, that kind of fixed the front suspension for me, because I was a little unhappy with that when I first did my initial ride. So I was like, oh, this sucks. But I knew I needed to adjust it, so I adjusted it, and everything's fine. So it's fixed. Yay. Here's another one. So I'm actually going to put this on a sport, so I don't know if I can make it up here on eco. This one I've never gone up, because on my motorcycle I was too scared to go up it. But this one, I feel very confident that we can make it up. Whoo! Oh gosh. Oh, falling over. All right. A little too confident. Whew, that was it's really steep. Okay, that was a lot steeper than I thought it was. But we made it. So this is as far as I've ever come up. So shooting right now hasn't been a great experience because my GoPro's turned off twice because of the heat, but the bike has been awesome. It's been working great, no issues. So if you're worried about the bike overheating in the heat, well, it's 100-degree weather. We're running in eco mode, we're running in sport mode, no issues, and the GoPro's overheated twice, even though we have a decent amount of airflow. It's just in the sun, it's just getting too hot. So I'm getting a lot more confidence in the Talaria. It's a sweet bike. I've been riding around for, I don't even know what time it is. It's probably been about 45 minutes. And I've used about 25% of my battery. I'm at 75%. And I wasn't even fully charged. It's been great. I've gone 10 miles. So 10 miles, 25% battery. I could probably go at least 30, 35 miles with like the pace that I normally run off-road. Apparently, I'm super docile off-road. I just need eco mode. I don't need anything crazy. I don't even know how much power that is. On the street, I can use all the way up to hyper, and it's not a big deal. That's totally cool. But as soon as I get off-road, I feel like I need to put it into eco mode until I really get my bearings, or until the battery life gets like 40% or under, and then I can start using something like a sport mode just because the battery, feels a little less daunting. But that's kind of, man, this is like first impressions part 2. Nothing but impressed with this bike. Really love the brakes. Really love the regen throttle. Still trying to figure out the regen throttle to some extent.
Got a little creosote stuck on me. Do I have anything else to say? Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.